Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Top Stuff and review of the February 29th NHL Games, so happy Leap Day. We're going to start off with the Ducks and the Sharks. Just coincidentally, I'm wearing my Ducks jersey here. The 30th anniversary one. They should change this full time. Just saying. Anyways, the first period, Anthony Duclair scores for the Sharks at 2:47 from Fabian Zetterlund and Nikita Kutyk. That's right. 3:07, Leo Carlsson scores from Killorn and Henrique. Bradley Simmons score again for the Ducks at 4:37 of the first from Pavel Mintyukov and Raka Gudas shorthanded. So 2-1 Ducks going into the second. Second period at 5:18, Claude to extend that lead from Adam Henrique and Gustav Lindstrom. Mike Hoffman would cut the lead to 1 at 10:26 from Fabian Zetterlund and Mikael Granlund on the power play. Eklund would score for the Sharks to tie it up at 15:40 the second from Duclair and Granlund on the power play. Vetrano would restore the lead for the Ducks at 17:35 from Lacombe and Strome on the power play. Henrique would then score for the Ducks again to extend the lead at 18:41 from Lacombe and Strome on the power play. Third period, Duclair would score again for the Sharks at 9:30 to cut the lead to 1 from Mikael Granlund and Mike Hoffman on the power play. And then in 1936, Lindstrom would score unassisted into the empty net to give the Ducks a 6-4 victory over the Sharks. Pittsburgh and Seattle. So in the first period, Oliver Bjorkstrand scores from Alex Winberg and Will Borgen at 12:25 the first. Second period, there's no scoring. Third period, Winberg scores one of his own from Yamamoto and Tolvanen on the power play at 15:02. Seattle takes that one 2-0. Colorado and Chicago. So in the first period, Zach Parise scores from Jack Johnson at 17:58 of the first. Second period is 6:56. Ross Holden scores from Parise and McKinnon on the power play. Parise would score again from Ryan Johansson and Jonathan Drouin at 7:38 of the second. Devon Taves would score from Renton and Makar at 19:58 of the second. Third period, at 17:32, McKinnon scores from Makar, and that would how it would end. The Avs take that one 5-0 for the Blackhawks. Alright, Winnipeg and Dallas. So in the first period, Jason Robertson scores from Joe Pavelski at 6:52 the first. Pavelski would score one of his own from Yanni Hakanpää and Rebbe Hintz at 16:41. 18:17 of the first, Stankoven scores from Johnston and Ben. Second period, Nemestikov scores from Ehlers and Pionk on the power play at 13:24 to put Winnipeg on the board. Third period, 18:58, Hintz scores unassisted into the empty net. Dallas takes that 1-4-1 over the Jets. Minnesota and Nashville. Could have an important game for both of them based on the playoff picture. Anyways, first period, Connor Dewar scores for the Wild at 9:51 from Duhaime and Hartman. Jakob Trenum would respond for the Predators at 10:40 from Romagnosi. Cole Smith would score at 10:48 unassisted, the first. We went to the second period at 17:55. Forsberg scores from Yossi and Nyquist on the power play. Third period at 1:32. Yossi scores from Sissons and Glass. At 8:03, O'Reilly scores from Nyquist and Carrier. And then McDonough scores from Evangelista and Sissons at 13:57 of the third. The Predators take that one 6-1. So a handy victory over the Wild there. Montreal and Florida. Montreal made this one difficult on the Panthers. Anyways, first period is 7:01. Barkov scores from Reinhardt and Verhey. At 8:24, Suzuki scores from Xhaka and Savard. Second period at 14:08, Reinhardt scores from Tkachuk and Barkov on the power play. Slavkovsky would answer from Suzuki at 19:59. Third period, Newhook scores to give the Habs their first lead of the night from Caulfield and Suzuki on the power play at 3:27. Reinhardt would decide he didn't like that, and he would score at 13:05 from Barkov short-handed. Overtime, there was no scoring, and then Esa Lindell would get the shootout winner for the Panthers there. They took that one 4-3 in a shootout. Alright, Isles and Red Wings. So in the first period, Brock Nelson would score, unassisted at 12:11. Cizikas would score for the Islanders at 16:18 from Pelican Dobson. So 2-0 Just going to the second period. Second period, Ole Mato would cut the lead to 1 at 5:04 from David Perron and Joe Leno. Third period, 10 seconds in, Patrick Kane would tie it up from Dylan Larkin and Jeff Petrie. Nelson would score at 5:04 from Barzell and Palmieri on the power play. Ole Mato would tie it up at 10:49 from Gostisbehere and Sprong. Barzell would score unassisted at 13:58 the third, and then Pierre Engvall would score from Holmstrom and Cizikas into the empty net at 19:24. The Islanders take that one 5-3 over the Red Wings. Alright, Carolina and Columbus. So in the first period, there's no scoring. Second period, Teravainen scores unassisted 53 seconds in. Aho would score at 8:19 from Shea and Pesci. Sillinger would score from Werenski and Alex Nylander, at 9:56. Shea would score from Kotkaniemi and Burns at 16:30. Third period, Nylander would score from Roslovic and Jenner on the power play at 8:41. And then Jarvis would seal it for the Hurricanes at 19:45 from Martinook and Pesci into the empty net. So the Canes did that one 4-2 over Columbus. Alright, Yotes and Maple Leafs. They were saying a statement win for the Leafs, but it's Arizona, so yeah. Anyways, 13-4, Matthew Nye scores from Mitch Marner. Bertuzzi would, that's the first period. Second period, at 1:05, Bertuzzi scores from Lagesson and Nylander. That's William this time. At 13-12, Matthews scores from Nylander and Nyes. And then Kerfoot would score for the Coyotes at 14:39, the second unassisted, shorthanded. Third period, at 9:52, Logan Cooley would score from Matias Michelli and Yusuf Alamaki. And then Nylander would score from Kampf into the empty net at 19 minutes. The Leafs take that one 4-2. Alright, Sabres and Lightning. So Buffalo and Tampa. The first period, Braden Point scores from Kucherov and Hedman on the power play at 8:12. Alex Tuck would score at 10:59 in the first unassisted. Second period is 17-18. Michael Chaffee would score, or Mitchell Chaffee would score from Chernak and Cirelli. Third period, 11:33. Tage Thompson scores from Dahlin on the power play. And then in overtime, Dahlin would score from Middlestat and Greenway on the power play at 1:42 seconds. Buffalo takes it 3-2 in overtime. Alright, least favorite game of the night, LA and Vancouver. This one spiraled. First period, Doughty scores at 13:19 from Fiala and Moore. Second period, Kopitar would score at 5:14 from Byfield and Doughty. Third period, Besser would score at 2:55 from JT Miller and P.S. Suter. Besser with a beautiful power play goal off a feed from guess who, JT Miller. That injected some hope back into the league, but at 4:27, Fiala would snuff that out. He scores from Kopitar and Doughty on the power play. Brian Clark would score at 12:31 from Byfield and Lewis, and then Trevor Moore would score from Fiala at 15:38. Kings set that one 5-1, and I'm doing my best to forget about that. Vegas and Boston. So in the first period, Geeky scores from Frederick and just Frederick at 14:34. Boakfist would score from Locko and Shattenkirk at 15:04. At 16:54, Geeky would score again from Pasternak and Heinen. Second period, Cotter would score from Nick Waugh and Shea Theodore at 1:48. Petrangelo would score from Marchessault and Brisson at 6:57. Geeky would score at 16:32 from Pasternak and Grzelcyk. Amadio would score at 17:46 of the second from Stevenson and McNabb. Third period, Stevenson would score at 5:01 to tie it up from Zach Whitecloud shorthanded. But Laurier would say no. He would score at 15:23 from Shattenkirk and Coyle on the power play to give Boston the 5-4 win over Vegas. And that's it for the 29th. Hopefully the month of March will be kinder to the Canucks. Hopefully that starts off with a win against the Anaheim Ducks of all teams. So that's it for the 29th. So hit like if you liked it, subscribe if you really liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.